All right, Tyre, what topic do you have for us now? Spinning. I never know what to say to fill the time as it spins, and it also
Spinning,
always
spinning.
stops like in the middle. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Lando Norris and Alex Albon. So, if you're confused why I put those two together, not you, Nicole, but anyone listening, I know you're not, it's because they both have very similar stories right now, which is connections to other teams that's not the team they're driving for, and but they've taken it in two different directions. So I thought we start with Alex Albon because it's the easier, quicker one.
Yes. Alex Albon, oh, we just want him to succeed so much. And he has declared himself as like the Williams racing fanboy. Like, no matter what, he just so believes in the team and believes in what they're doing there. And even with the buzz of like when there was the conversation, and last week we talked about like Red Bull number two seat, like, Alex made it very clear. I am here at Williams. I'm very happy with Williams, and I will be at Williams.
You're also kind of bearing the lead, which is it's pretty decently reported that Red Bull asked Alex Albon to come back, and Alex said no.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's belief in Williams or a lack of wanting to put himself through the turmoil of the Red Bull system ever again. Like, if Mercedes came calling, I'm sure he'll say yes. Like,
Yes, well,
even Ferrari.
I'm using Alex's words at the moment, but you're
Yes.
so right.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I don't think why I wouldn't want to go back there anyway. I mean, I wouldn't want to go there to begin with, but that's also just me. But it would be cool to see if Alex could do something at Williams. But yeah, I think the not wanting to return. Shout out to Alex for not going back to your toxic ex. Whoops.
Unlike some other ones who've tried.
You know what?
Uh,
Some people just we all can't be Alex Albon.
no. But I do think Alex Albon's current contract length at Williams, though, is of the drivers out there right now, is setting himself up the best to be in a Mercedes seat when Lewis does decide to retire. Because, by the way, that's what we're dealing with here. Whenever Lewis decides to retire. But, so Lando Norris is definitely the more interesting one of the pair here. Where it has been decently reported that Lando Norris has had multiple offers from Red Bull every single time his McLaren contract is up, and Lando said, no thank you, I don't need to be in that shit show. And, more power to you, Lando. Like, it is definitely much easier to not be at a top team and to just be lauded as, oh, if only he was. So he's taken the easier route. But now, apparently that's being offered again. They're courting Lando. And I think it's really interesting that even in the last 2 weeks, we've gotten a quote from Lando that says, no, 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 I'm sticking it out with McLaren. That would be cool. We've also gotten some inklings and some quotes that show that he seems to be a little more open to it than previously thought.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the likelihood is that Lando ends up at Red Bull, and do you want to see it?
So, likelihood, again, it's just the big question of like, I mean, yes. When Red Bull like removes Checo, it's like, then it's just gonna like all go like full frenzy. I did last week
Right.
say I would love to see the chaos that occurs with Lando and Max both at Red Bull until you said maybe Fernando at Red Bull would be like I was trying to think of like what would be like a really entertaining thing to watch. That is definitely more entertaining, I think. But I would love to see like Lando at Red Bull and just sounds like an alternative multiverse that I would definitely watch for a period of time. I don't know what my overall feelings would be in the long run for it, but right now I'd be like, yeah, that's interesting. Sounds sure. Would you just be like, hard pass, do not
Eject on sport. Don't
reject on
need that.
sport?
No,
I do
thank you.
not want to hear this.
Uh, no, I think right now my brain in that second Red Bull seat is prioritizing competitive. Like if we were watching, I need to be able to see two drivers duke it out for the world championship versus Max and other.
Max's friend.
Right. Max and person that they point to and say he's trying.
And I think to
So
that point, I think Lando has that. Even if like he is good friends with Max, they're both have such like he has that like that competitive mindset of like I want to do this. I think he wouldn't just sit back and like let Max be Max.
and I actually want to see if Lando's that good,
Hmm.
right? Like and Max is the test. And so, yes, neither of those drivers are my favorite drivers, but at least we would get a really spicy championship battle, so I would be completely in favor of it. It has been reported that Liberty's putting a lot of pressure on Red Bull to fill that second seat with a competitive driver. And of the young competitive drivers, Lando seems like the obvious choice.
I agree.
So, I'm actually kind of hoping for it.
What happens? I mean, I wouldn't be, like, surprised. Like, I would be like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'd be surprised because Lando's been so strong. No. But you dangle that world championship.
Hang the dream.
I will say that if it comes out that Red Bull gave him the offer and Lando said no, I don't want to hear shit about Lando having a killer mentality or being one of the top drivers. Because if you're one of the top drivers, you take the fastest car by 1,000,000 miles and you go try to beat Max.
Yeah.
Like, I am not a killer mentality person. I would not. I would be like, no, don't need to be in the second seat to Max. That kills careers. But if you are a top driver, you think you can beat Max.
So let's see if you can do it, Lando.
Checo thought he could beat Max at the start of this year.
And now, look where that is.
All right, we lied before. As soon as it landed on Max, we knew that was a quick one. So we have time in the show rundown to spin this one more time. And the things remaining, if you're just listening and you want some suspense, we have a return to Carlos Sainz. We have a Logan Sargent. We have the 2 Alfa Romeo guys. And then we have IndyCar and F2. Let's spin. And slowing down. And return to Carlos Sainz.
Fantastic.
F this story. This has been a nightmare of a week since we last recorded about Carlos Sainz because it's all just gibberish. Because some publication in Australia said that Carlos Sainz has a pre-contract, which, by the way, isn't a real contract. It's a verbal agreement that, hey, maybe we'll sign you or maybe I will drive for you with Audi. And then there's no one else reporting that. But it became such wildfire on social media because there's no news coming out because it's summer break that the Sainz team had to report to the Italian press that Carlos has no interest in leaving Ferrari and he's just negotiating with Ferrari. I think the actual quote was, I think it was option A, but in my head I read it as plan A, plan B, plan C are all Ferrari.
It's the only way Ferrari knows how to communicate or understand is by lettered plans. Yeah, as soon as I saw all that coming around, and I was like, "Hey, all right, Briana, what's our sourcing? Where is this coming from? What country is this coming from in reporting? And like, how deep down can we find this?" We had like discussed this little bit of a buzz like last week of like this was always a possible like option for him, but like, gosh, a headline that says pre-contract is like great. So you have like nothing because a pre-contract isn't a thing, really.
It's all made up, and the points don't matter.
It's all made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah. I just don't know how to talk about this right now because I do think Mattia Binotto was the one who brought in Carlos. I do think Carlos was brought in under the understanding that he was not going to be treated as a number 2 driver when he is faster on track. I do think Carlos has been treated like a number 2 driver when he's been faster on track a number of times so far this season, and as a Carlos Sainz fan, I have wanted to scream at Ferrari, because what's the point?
Mm-hmm. And then they'll call
You're not competing for anything.
Pit stop strategy, and just everyone gets screwed up.
Don't start, it's also just like they're doing it poorly. Like there's a way to do it where we can't see it, right? So if you start Carlos on softs and Leclerc on mediums, and then Carlos ends up behind Leclerc on the mediums, then everyone in the world is going to see the fact that you're ruining Carlos's strategy because you started him on softs. Just don't start him on softs. Don't do that strategy. Because the only way that strategy works is if you swap your drivers. So they're even doing it poorly. There's a way to like somewhat hide this. Instead they're doing, so, but a tangent.
We're talking about Ferrari, Briana.
I would totally support Carlos going to another team. I'm just tired of these rumors because I don't think they're coming from anywhere substantial.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Just, again, silly season headlines. Thank you so much for listening to this highlight from episode of 29 of Gridwalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more F1 videos while you're here. Also, you listen this far in the video, just go over and listen to the rest of the episode. Listen to the full podcast. You can click right here. It's so easy. Ready? Click, click, click. Click, 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 click.